All right, so in order to make your animation from your sketch, we're going to create two Photoshop files. And we'll talk a lot about that. One of them is going to be what's called the stage, and one of them is going to be just our treasury, our assets file. Our assets file is like a treasure box of everything we could possibly use in an animation. Our stage is actually where we shoot the final photo that makes the frame. So when I look at this, I think of it like I'm a little kid playing in his bedroom with his toys. And I set up a backdrop and I think of like what trees and things, what backgrounds do I need to create the scene? And then what toys am I going to use and how are they going to interact? And I want to put all of that into one treasure box together. And those are my animation assets. And with those animation assets, we're going to be able to take our storyboards, like we see Hitchcock's here from the birds, and we're going to be able to turn them into refined, full resolution frames. And these are what are called keyframes, right? But in order to get from this scene or from this image to this image to this image, there's going to be a lot more shots, right, than just one. So it's not just a quick slideshow. We're going to introduce movement and subtlety and transition in between the finished frames. Some of them are about setting and about mood. Some of them are about what are called sight lines, right? And knowing the direction of elements. You can see the arrows. There's lots of arrows in storyboards. So we get a sense of, because movement's the main thing, of how that movement is taking place. And you get a sense of character movement as well, right? So it's interesting. Here, notice the one difference between the storyboards and the finished frame. The bird's moving in the directions. It's framed almost exactly right. Tough to do because it's hard to train birds, for your camera. But notice that she's looking to the right in the storyboard. She's looking to the left here. And so that's because they had to choose the moment that kind of best told the story. And it's better to have her counter the movement of the bird to make that bird's movement seem stronger. But here they show that she would turn from looking one way to the other, but that would then weaken the movement of the bird. So there's lots of little things that we'll get into when we're actually doing the transitions. And just my 9 panels here will probably turn into about a 50-panel animation, which is roughly 5 seconds, in the timing we'll use, because it just takes that long to show movement, But because it's digital, we don't have to hand draw each of those 50 frames, right? We get to do perfect duplicates and then just make little alterations. So what assets do we need? So if I was Hitchcock, I need an actress, I need wardrobe, I need a set, I need trained birds, I need lots of things, right? In digital art, we just need our assignment files and then any extra stuff. So I'm going to create a new folder for assignment 5. And then within my assignment 5 folder, I'm going to move it onto the desktop just so I can show you this. I'm going to create 2 new folders. One is, so by creating an assets folder and a stage folder, that's going to help me remember that this is where I keep everything I need for the animation. And then this is where I put the finished shots to build the story. So what do I need in assets? I am using my creature from assignment 2. So I'm going to go right to assignment 2. And I'm going to go right to my cutout creature. I can even go to assignment 3 because I already did this by putting my creature in my landscape. And I have this beautiful cutout, right? This PNG. I can use that. But notice my creature is facing this way. So what I might do is create an asset from my assignment 3. Because remember, as long as we have the PNG or the PSD files, we have all those different layers. So I'm going to create an asset which already shows my creature facing the right way. In fact, the only asset I really need right now is my assignment 3. So I'm just going to hold down Option and copy that into my assets folder. And then I will rename it Karl Assignment 5 and call it Assets. Now, I'll go ahead and open that up. That one file has a creature, it has texture fills, it has all the different layers that I needed for my creature composite, so the coral is on a separate layer. So it's got a lot of good assets, but it doesn't have fire, it doesn't have bulging eyes, it doesn't have some other stuff, so I might want to grab some of that and do an image search for it. So fire, for instance. I'll call it fire breath. Why not? See what it gives me. Do it. And I want images for fire breath, right? And because GIF animations are silly, or can be silly, I don't need to go photorealistic if I don't want to, right? But I obviously have a lot of options if I do want to. And because we're going to work at a lower resolution than if we were printing the animation, we're going to work at 8 inches by 8 inches by 150 pixels per inch, not 350. It means we only need things that are about 1,000 pixels. So roughly just large will do. And so it gives me some nice ones, right? That I can open in new tabs. I don't need Pixabay for this necessarily. These are all larger than 1,000 pixels. And I can composite these together. All these pictures of fire breathers will serve me well. And what's kind of crazy is you can even composite with animations. So if I go to type and I go to GIF, I might even find an animation of someone breathing fire. Now these are GIFs, these are graphic interchange formats, but they might not actually be animated. But it looks like they are. They're on Giphy, which is an animation sharing site. I just have to try to get to them. And then I can save those in my assets as well. So start collecting a lot of assets, just like you would for any kind of compositing project. Come on, animate, animate, animate. There we go. But it's animating in a weird way. Let's see what this one is. That's the same one. That's why you got to check from the source. This one does not seem to be animated. Here we go. That's, why do they do the bullet time thing? It's annoying. But I like that first part of it. So I can steal that animation, low res as it is, and put it into my assets. And then if I open it up in preview, this will show you what a GIF is actually made of. This is helpful to know. It's just a sequence of still images. Right? It's like a folder or a slideshow. And so I want all the way up to here. Maybe up to there. Yeah, up to 10. And I'm going to delete these others. So now I can even composite with that animation, which will be pretty helpful. It's not required, but you can actually composite with other GIFs. They're just sequences of images. Okay. GIF format. Let's see, what else do we have? I mean, that's a pretty good one. And then I have all of these. Yeah, you don't want that. Then I have all of these still photos that I can composite and use as well. So I want to always open image in new tab. You see how that's nice and high quality. So I'll composite that with the animation, which will be much lower quality. And I haven't done the fire breathing in a while, so that'll be fun. So all of these go in my assets folder. And they can help inform me of my inform my storyboard. Oh, this is Flickr. Flickr used to be like Pixabay, where it was always Creative Commons open, but notice this one is all rights reserved. So, and sometimes it won't allow you to download, which is fine. But all the other kind of worries about compositing we want to keep in mind here. That's why we're transforming. Yeah, I don't want the web page. I think I have enough. All right. Now, what other assets? I might want bulging eyes. Bulging cartoon.